Welcome to the second series of teaching methods. In the first series, we focused our attention on the introductory aspects of teaching methods. We saw the factors that influence which choice a teacher makes, and also we took time to digest the different types of teacher-centered teaching methods. In this unit, we are now going to draw attention on modern teaching approaches that are heavily child-centered. If you look up in this PowerPoint presentation, we have several varieties of teaching methods that are innovative. We have project-based, we have visual-based learning, we have inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, role-playing, jigsaw, and so on. Now, in this next slide, you see how varied student-centered methods are. And when you go through this course unit, I do not expect a teacher to go on and prepare a scheme, to prepare a lesson plan, and all the time it is one type of teaching method. Students get bored. Students predict what they are going to find within the class. So there are varied approaches, small groups, case study, cooperative learning, brainstorming, discussion, role play, simulations, games. We're going to have discovery type of method. We're going to dive into all that. But let's start off with our first method we're looking at is small group instruction. Have a look at this picture. Look at the number of pupils the teacher has. This is a small group, Now, the SGI, the small group instruction, basically the teacher has about 4 to 6 students. Now, because of its nature, the teacher works closely with each student on a specific learning objective. He works with this small group of students, and therefore each student, the teacher helps him or her to reinforce the group skills or to reinforce the skills needed. Now, in this type of learning, it is based on constant activities around the workstation. The teacher is assisting this group to work independently. So there is another small group somewhere, it is working independently. Similarly, this group is working independently. Now, what are the advantages of small group discussions? The lessons are adapted to each student's level. So, remember, the teacher has an opportunity to have a one-on-one, and therefore the teacher will work out differentiated instruction to this small group. Differentiated, we mean he's carrying out teaching that is different from what he is doing with another group. It is differentiated to meet the needs of the learners. 2, small group discussions develop social skills within the young ones. However, it comes with its disadvantages. It takes more time and effort to prepare materials and organize these different workstations for the learners. 2, the students may feel pressure to always be involved in contributing towards the lesson, because remember, they are about 4 to 5, and therefore the frequency of contribution of each learner is high as compared to whole class presentation. The next type of method is called the collaborative learning. Collaborative learning involves students working together in small groups to achieve common goals or solve problems. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of collaborative learning. It enhances, it improves communication, it improves teamwork, it also develops problem-solving skills, and it comes with its challenges that range to managing groups. Some students may dominate others. Individual accountability may be difficult because some may be passive in nature. The third one we're looking at is discussion method. The discussion method is a two-way communication between participants. So therefore, in a class setting, the teacher and students are all participating in the discussion. During a discussion, the teacher spends time listening to the learners and the students are spending time talking. Discussion, therefore, method is an active learning experience within the class. Now, there are benefits that come with the discussion method. For example, we have increased engagement and motivation of the learners to learn. We have development of social and emotional skills. We have deep learning happens, yeah, and then the student-teacher relations are improved. The next type of method, we call it peer-to-peer teaching. So peer-to-peer teaching happens when students collaborate in the learning process. So students are learning, you notice here, students can learn with each other, students can learn from each other, and then one can learn from another. There are benefits of peer-to-peer learning. Students see each other's perspective. You know, we as adults may have a different perspective from the learners, but if they are learning from each other, so they see each other's perspective too. Teaching others helps them to learn a topic in depth. The one who is teaching his peer gets a better understanding because he has to do research so as to help a friend. Now, within peer-to-peer, we are also developing social skills, yeah? Social skills. And then when they study together, it is fun, it is motivating. The next type of method, we call it the inquiry-based learning. What do we mean? Definition. Inquiry-based learning is an education approach where students actively pose questions, they investigate, they seek out knowledge to satisfy their curiosity. So rather than getting facts directly from the teacher, learners discover, they construct knowledge through hands-on exploration. So for example, within school, we can have local ecosystem study. They go out, they inquire about how plastics are destroying the environment. They ask questions, and thus it is an inquiry-based learning. Advantages. It develops critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Students are encouraged to fail as part of the process, and thus they improve in their performance. So it's okay during inquiry to fail, to have it wrong, isn't it? Now, instead of repeating answers, students are taught to seek their own answers to questions, so they develop research skills. However, it comes with disadvantages. Because students always are encouraged to speak up and participate, they may fail or they may be afraid to fail. So some students may be embarrassed to participate. It raises the anxiety and it lowers motivation. The other disadvantage is that it may result in poorer standardized testing performance. When students engage in a lot of inquiry, they may end up getting wrong conclusions. So therefore, you cannot use it in isolation because they are going to inquire, come up with their own body of conclusions. Alone, it may not be effective. Discovery learning. Discovery form of learning involves students' maximum freedom within a resource-rich environment. Yes, the students go on to discover answers to challenges. Therefore, in discovery learning, it requires students to build on the knowledge they already have. It requires them to use the resources in the environment to increase on their knowledge. So students in Discover Learning are not told the information. Instead, they discover the information themselves. So you give them a textbook, let them discover the knowledge. You tell them, go find out what happens when a hen is sick. They go discover themselves. So we usually say in Discovery Learning, there is I do, the teacher does the modeling of the task. We do, the teacher works hand in hand with the student, they do together, and then you do, student attempts to complete the task alone. The next type of method, we call it the Socratic method. In this method, there is questioning. It's a type of question-oriented dialogue where the teacher takes a role that appears to be almost subservient to that of the student. So, questioning. You are tearing down old ideas and replacing them with new ones. Socratic method, it offers questions in place of answers. In Socratic method, it refuses to give students the answer directly. In other words, they are hidden in the bowl. In Socratic method, there is never one correct answer unless all solutions have been ruled out. What are the benefits of Socratic type of teaching? It develops critical thinking. There is self-confidence being developed. It develops curiosity and empowers the learner. There is engagement of the learner. There is the sense of the power of reason being developed. Yes, it usually has high impact. Now, there are disadvantages of using the Socratic approach. One, uncertainty as to where the discussion may lead. Remember, we are tearing down old approaches. So you tell the learners, now, what would have happened if speech had not come to trace the Nile? Now, there is a lot of uncertainty. What answers are going to come up? Now, because of this uncertainty, it may be difficult to fit the discussion within the confines of the curriculum that is stipulated by NCDC. Now, at times, it may fail if students have not participated. Remember, it's about questioning what is existing. Some students dislike it because there is no right answer, and many students fear to speak in front of a group. The next type of learning, we call it the problem-based learning, PBL. It's an instructional method where students learn through active exploration of the real world, active exploration of the challenges that exist in the real world. Yes, it emphasizes self-directed research. In this type of PBL, there is inquiry. So the teacher presents a problem. The students must develop a study to inquire about the answers. For example, it could be a riddle. A teacher presents a riddle, and the students have to work together to solve that riddle using clues that may be presented. So therefore, the problem-based learning, if we are to compare it to the traditional approach of teaching, the student is told, here, a problem is assigned. So in the traditional, when a student is told, the child will memorize it. When the student memorizes it, then is given a problem, a question, to illustrate what he was told. In a problem-based, a problem is given. The student identify what they need to know. They learn, apply to solve the problem. Another type of learning, or rather teaching method is brainstorming. Brainstorming is a creative technique that is used to generate ideas in a group. So it involves free-flowing discussion. In brainstorming, don't allow students to go to be. It's non-judgmental. It's spontaneous sharing of ideas on a specific topic. The aim of brainstorming is to produce a large quantity of ideas that can be evaluated and refined to find the best solution. So in brainstorming, so we have, of course, the brain. The brain has thoughts. In storming, we are generating a storm of ideas. Brainstorming. Now, brainstorming rules. Focus on the quantity. Generate as many ideas as possible. No criticism. At this point of brainstorming, all answers are right, so to say. Don't stop the individual by saying, not right. Unusual ideas are welcome. Welcome new ideas. Combine and improve to generate new ideas. So we'll pause it there and I look forward to taking you through the third and final video of yet other teaching methods.